So you guys had some like really interesting guests on your show, like Anna from Red Scare, Max Blumenthal,
Hmm.
Whitney Webb, like what have you like what's one thing either of you have specifically learned from one of those guests that really you'll always remember that thing that
Yeah,
you
each of the it's funny.
Yeah.
Not so much Whitney Webb in terms
any
of
guest. Yeah.
no, but those are like the big ones. Like those are like the
Yes.
big three ones that
Definitely.
we've had. I mean, if you look at the
Yeah.
high ranking episodes, those are up there. People like found us through there and stuff. And it's funny, like we had Anna on, haters, haters, haters everywhere. People hate that woman. Like just with
Yeah.
and to be honest, I
I thought it
don't
was
get it.
funny. Yeah,
No,
it's
I
like
think she's down to clown and she's like smart, I think. Like I legitimately think she's smart. And then but
Sure.
then but then the like, and Max has his haters, which he knows who his haters are. I mean, like the guy, I mean, you go up there doing what he does. He knows it. He expects it coming. He's like told us, he's like, you guys need more haters. He told us that. He's like, you guys need more haters, man. I was like, fuck,
Yeah.
all right,
yeah,
not
buddy
going
of
to
mine
that.
shot a stand-up special for him. Like one time he did stand-up
It's all right.
over
Yeah.
at Right Brain, and yeah, he I've heard nothing but great things
He's
about
cool,
Max
man. He's
Blumenthal.
super cool.
Nothing but
I
good things.
get
Yeah.
why people would be like, yo, I don't, that's not for me. Like I get that, but he's really fun to talk to and stuff. And so but what I mean is like I think the fact that we've talked to all those three people and had good conversations with them, I think is kind of like a selling point for our show. And for some people, they view that as like cop out or like pick something and pick a lane or something. And I'm like, that's boring. I don't want to talk to the same. I don't want to talk to the same different flavor of the same person all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's not
Yeah.
really, that's not interesting to me. And I understand that's probably more profitable for the show to do that, to like carve a lane and do that. And and you are this person and you do that. But to me, I like getting people on and trying to make them have an informal fun conversation, especially if they're used to doing like capital M media. I love to be like, hey man, just what do you think of this, like what do you think of that, and just
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's fun to do that, and
You embrace the
um,
variety.
yeah, and people will latch on to us from that one episode. Like, let's say you're a Whitney Webb fan or something, and you'll be like, "Well, these guys seem cool because I like that interview." And then they'll hear the next episode we do, and they'll go, "These guys are retarded," and then they'll
Yeah.
leave. And I go, "That's fine. That was gonna happen anyways." Like, I'm glad you
Max,
found it out
yeah,
right away. Yeah,
exactly.
Max's people all hate us now. Like, just
Yeah,
'cause
Max's fans. Well, there's a certain type of Max's fan that hates Max because he's not cool enough or base enough.
Yeah.
Which is insane because it's like I don't want to be in the position where like you're trying to impress someone beyond Max's level. Where it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I
it's
mean? And
tough.
like I remember we were getting hate. At least I think I was the one that said it. I was like, yeah, I think he's not totally my like North Star or whatever. But I said this on the Max episode. I was like, I like think Jimmy Dore's good. I like what Jimmy Dore puts out more often than not.
Totally.
And people were like, "Oh my God, you idiots! You listen to Jimmy Dore?" And I'm like, "Max goes on Jimmy Dore like once a month. Like this, you're commenting on this."
They're like, "Yeah, I hate
know what I
him." Yeah,
I know-
That
yeah,
stand-up
no, that's
special
like-
my friend did was an opener
And I-
for Jimmy Dore. Like he's tapped
Oh,
into
really?
Jimmy. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
these guys are
Jimmy's cool, and it's like I get Jimmy. He's not like some like groundbreaking analysis guy or whatever, but it's like he got COVID right. That's boom. That's 80%
He
of the way
offers
there,
great
right
insight
there.
into topics from a very like accessible
Yeah.
point of view.
Yeah.
For sure.
And,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's
And like,
different.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like, Anna's the same way. If you go at Red Scare's Patreon comments, all of them are
Oh,
calling
God.
Anna a Nazi the entire time. And I'm just like, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's just like, okay. You know what I mean? I don't think she is. I don't think that's the case. I think for the most part, like, and people do this whole thing, like they'll be like, that's why I hate the term platforms. Like you platformed this person. And I'm just like, no, I talked to them. Like that to me is and that has been kind of a bipartisan thing where I've noticed like that is a true both sides thing where someone gets really mad that you talked and like had fun with somebody that they hate. And I don't know, like, doesn't there, I'm not saying you have to go seek that out. I just mean for the most part, that's what life is, man. Like you have to be, if you can't sit down for an hour and talk to somebody and find some sort of common ground, you got to work on that about yourself a little bit, right? Especially when somebody, look, there's plenty of people I can't do that with. I don't even try it. But for the most part, like, you know, somebody like that, you do your, not research, but you listen to a few things they say. The best thing to do when you have those people on is to just hear them talk about something in passing, but you know they want to talk about it more, but it's not, their platform isn't exactly
like IQs of racism.
Of course. Yeah, of course. No,
Well,
with Anna, we talked about R. Kelly. She always brings up R. Kelly on Red Scare, and I was like, hey, do you want to come on our show and talk about R. Kelly? And she's like, yeah. So it was
Only
like
R. Kelly. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, I mean, like I was just like,
That was a big
I
part
love
of the
when she talked
episode.
about her what
Yeah.
music taste she had as a kid. I really like that part of the episode. I really like you know, her, and I'm
Yeah.
not like the biggest fan of them. I don't like listen to them like that, but you know, that was a good one. And then Whitney
Yep.
Webb. I mean, if you don't like Whitney Webb, you know, you're a fucking retard. Like she's literally the most like non-biased ever. Like she
is, but she's a little scary.
she's subversive, and she like with her bias. Like sometimes she talks about like she goes after what's relevant, and what's relevant sometimes is like not like
Constructive.
people don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
like, they don't want to
exactly.
hear some shit sometimes, like about
Yeah, I think there's a good place in the ecosystem for her. I think
Right.
sometimes a critique would be she devolves into like it's a competition thing,
Yes.
where it's like who's the most
arguing
based
with
and
Martyr
stuff.
Made or something. Yeah, like
Yeah,
right.
no, and it's it's just I kind of like I don't know, and I get sometimes you do got to throw down. I get that where you have a claim and you know whether you know I feel this way on a lot of topics where you're like no that guy is stupid on that issue and I know more than them or whatever. So I get that, but sometimes it can be maybe a little exhausting where I'm just like, all right, we're like 8 layers deep into this crazy conspiracy, and like I need a surface for air like a seal in the Arctic or something. You know, I need to go through like a little.
My
ice tube
my problem with not necessarily her, but everybody that's on that ultra parapolitical like connection and mapping like every
on X
conspiracy.
every day. Like,
Yeah, like the people that do that, what bothers me is the narcissism of small differences, and you see that amongst there all the time. And what I mean by that
God.
is the like, okay, let's say like you agree on 98% of Jeffrey Epstein or whatever, any sort of like big thing, and then you're like, and then this guy who worked for Les Wexner, I don't like, and then they're like, he didn't work for Les Wexner, you're a fucking fed, dude. Like, and then you're just like, dude, so now like you become this kind of like anarchist within your own field when you're like, okay, if the plan is to do a mass awakening for everyone to believe in that stuff, you've already like alienated somebody who like would agree with you 98% of the time. And then it becomes, I go, what is this really about sometimes? Like, because I do agree, there's a lot of stuff where you're like, yeah, that's probably true. There's a lot of what am I supposed to do with that information? But also, like, there's a lot of that, okay, like, you cannot argue every nut and bolt of the research. Like, there has to be something where you just go, okay, that's fine, that's not that important. You know, like, everything seems to be like every little nook and cranny of like your thing, like somebody else might have a different take on like one little part of it that doesn't pull out the bottom of the Jenga pile, in my opinion.